Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling. As you see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhollow today. Why doesn't this sound right? You can hear me properly? Yeah, I mean, the microphone's picking me up. Maybe it's because it's a bit further away than usual. Push it up a little bit, twist it around. I should probably get a new mic stand at some point. I'll say this thing's not even staying up properly. The pop filter, which is not exactly optimal, I would say. Because you kind of want it to make sure my plosives are not too crazy loud. Okay, what are you doing, pop filter? Oh no, I'm twisting you wrong way. I'm loosening you instead of tightening you. That's on me. I very much apologise. But anyway, hello everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow at 6:09 PM on Monday, January 15th, 2024. Yeah, what am I going to talk about today? You know, just carrying on, doing more D&D prep, that sort of thing. Right now, I'm kind of like naming everything because you can't really run a D&D campaign without names. As much as I would love to, you know, because I have a sort of concept of what things are in my head. I'm like, now I actually got to put some names in. Names to places, and it's wild how things actually get their names, I suppose, in an etymological sense. Because you know, here I am trying to be like, oh, you know, deep about like how I'm gonna name things. I'm gonna name things after like certain properties, and maybe there'll be like puns or things like that. But really, a lot of places just are named like, oh, it's River Place, but like in Celtic or something, or it's like, oh, this is the mountain. I don't even know what you just said, Phoebe, but sure, well, I guess we're doing it. It's, so maybe I'm overthinking with something, but I don't know. I'm just sort of here for vibes, you know. So sometimes you just get a word and you're like, oh yeah, this seems like a right way to name something. What are you saying? Oh, Phoebe, that's honestly very sweet. Why don't we just sort of like, I don't know, chill? It'd be nice if I could sit down and then you could sit down next to me or something. Wouldn't it be nice if we had like more interaction sort of thing like this? We could do something? Nah, I think your stuff's all good. Can we dance? I don't know. What'd be a fun thing to do? Sit down? No? This is probably just a bit weird sitting down in this pile of lava. But there is a dance, is there? Like, feeling it? I mean, that's not exactly what I was thinking of. Sure, let's play a game. High card, low card. Yeah, I don't know what else to talk about today. I mean, that's just what sort of been going on. You know, yesterday. Nothing crazy or that. Did I upload a video? Oh, it was higher. Tragic. Did I upload a video today? I think I have one prepped. I want a goodbye volcano high. But alas, that is. Oh, I see. I finally responded to the little comments yesterday, so you know now I've got even more comments to respond to at some point. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what to talk about, to be honest. I'm sort of chilling. I'm vibing. Got to pluck a conversation topic out somewhere. Was there anything about gaming wise that I wanted to talk about? Halo Battle Royale. Some of my friends were playing, what's it called? Headbangers, that was it, yesterday. If you don't know, it's a music game battle royale. I think I actually spoke about it a little bit. I might even have a video called Headbangers or something where I spoke about my thoughts on it. Anyway, I haven't played it for ages, and they were playing it, I don't know, just, I mean, obviously just for fun, but like, I'm not sure like what specifically spurred them to do so. It seems like it's very much not on its last legs, but the population, I suppose, of people who play that game is certainly no longer the golden days, I suppose, of those like 2 weeks of release where, you know, you get full lobbies and that sort of thing. Because they were playing with a lot of bots in the lobby. Which is not too surprising. Like, these sort of games, these sort of like fun mini game battle royale sort of things, which is a bit highly specific, but I suppose these fad-esque games, you know, it's interesting to see, I suppose, what ends up causing the downfall, and most of the time it's often that people just get bored of it. Like it's not so much that they have a downfall, but it's more like we had a meteoric, like unprecedented meteoric initial popularity, like an unsustainable amount. I think that probably is expected, right? Like in any industry really, that you expect the peak to be like near the beginning, and then it slowly trails off, which is why you go so hard with like marketing, I suppose, at the beginning and all the campaigning and that sort of stuff, and then bada bing bada boom, eventually you hope to retain some of those players as they go along. but often I think ends up being a death knell for these sort of things. Because I feel like we've seen a few of these sort of like light-hearted party, but also quote competitive games at the same time. You know, we had Fall Guys as one of the original ones, where it was obviously we got Headbangers, we got what's it called? Is it called like Head Snatchers or something? Beforehand as well. I mean, I'm not sure if Gang Beast really falls into that category because it's not sort of like mass multiplayer, but they come up, you know, here and there. These sort of like fun battle royales and like different spins. I guess Tetris 99, you might say Pac-Man, or Mario 99 might be, was it Mario 25? I can't remember. Might be similar sort of veins to it, because I'm not really sure if I mean, Tetris is very, very much not just a casual game anymore. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if most of the people playing it were competitive. Well, not necessarily competitive as in they had to go into tournaments, but more like serious, I suppose, about it. Hardcore, quick. But at least these games, these sort of like mini-based game battle royales, which seems to be on the uptick. Well, not really the uptick, but just a few of them here and there. They sort of live and die by how many updates they end up getting. And I think that kind of goes with like any sort of indie games, which get like a sort of boom. There's only so long, which I suppose the hype can keep it going for, you know, like see Among Us, Lethal Company, right? Among Us had like an insane, like probably one of the highest peaks, second maybe to Lethal Company or something, highest peaks of like, oh, did Phoebe give us her photo? That's so nice. Of like popularity and people like buying into it since its release. But one thing that's often dooted is the fact that the developers just took a little bit too long to do any updates for it or something. Because I think at the time they were trying to make Among Us 2 or something, weren't they? And then they scrapped that because they were like, okay, we need to like capitalize on this Among Us 1 stuff now. But by that point, there's a huge amount of like modding which was already in place, I suppose, which kind of takes over the place of data updates, you know? Which is kind of why I think Lethal Company and Among Us, you know, at least had a lot more sort of staying power in that sort of sense, is the fact that you, in lieu of updates, because updates is kind of what keeps the engagement there, because after a while people start getting, you know, sort of bored of game, because that's all there is to it. If it's a game which theoretically has no end, you eventually, you know, will reach, wait, hold on. If it's like a game which doesn't have a definitive ending, like most of these multiplayer sort of battle royale games don't have, then the only people who continuously play it like onwards will be people who are hardcore about it. So they're probably going to play it anyway. But the casual audience, which you need to sort of preserve, I suppose, if you want to have a mass appeal, but people to fill out the lobbies, you know, will eventually just start dropping off when they eventually get bored of it, because I mean they're kind of there to play the game. I don't know how much of this is verifiably true, by the way. I'm just sort of like spitting based off a mixture of my own anecdotal observations and what feels intrinsically right, which by the way is not any sort of basis for scientific reasoning, which is probably why you probably shouldn't take any of this as scientific reasoning. I'm just stating like my own opinions, I suppose, but perhaps I should be careful about stating them as facts, so you know, take everything I say with a grain of salt. It's a reason that, I mean, Fall Guys, I felt like nearly fell into that trap, because they actually took a surprising amount of time to get like their first updates in, but then they started very consistently pumping out updates, and now, you know, Fall Guys has still got like a reasonably healthy population community. Of course, nothing quite holding a candle to the initial release popularity or that initial like golden period, but they still get quite frequent updates from what I can tell, and people still generally seem to be enjoying the game. Headbangers unfortunately fell into the thing where I don't think they got any updates since release, which is probably too slow at that point for this sort of game. Like, they have lobbies of 30 or whatever, and like my friends had like maybe like less than a third of that being human players, which is okay. It's not great, I would say, for a multiplayer game, but it's still maybe a bit more than I expected for this sort of multiplayer game without any updates since then. It's the nature of these video game industry being, you know, reasonably fast paced, or most media industries, I suppose, being quite fast paced. And the access of like indie games and video games, especially, meaning that it's even faster paced than I'd imagine like movie or TV necessarily are. Although maybe you'd argue that YouTube kind of goes contrary to that, which is totally fair, I think. Is that people will just sort of move on from the game because there are so many other like cool games to end up playing, right? So I mean I don't really know what happened with Headbangers necessarily. If maybe they had an update in the works, or maybe the developers were just overwhelmed with it, or maybe like they couldn't get enough funding, etc. for it, or maybe they never intended to really put more updates in. That was just kind of it, and then like when it dies, it dies. I genuinely don't know. I suppose it's kind of like, no, hold on, they must have been getting some updates because they have a battle pass system in Headbangers, right? I don't know what season they're on. Maybe hold on, is there a Headbangers subreddit? There probably is. Headbangers game for 182 members, which is not a huge amount, I would say. Server feels dead, probably. Yeah, I don't know. So they've had a season 2. Starts December 7th. So they did actually have a season 2. I don't know if they had any new games since then. Why am I here? I don't know. I think I was going to sell something, but then I just failed. So we did actually have a season 2, but what am I doing? Oh, I guess I am selling things. I don't think I have enough things in my inventory to actually to sell stuff like that, but I guess I had December 7th. I don't know if they had any new mini games or anything like that. Which I don't know. People don't want to play the same mini games over and over and over again. I mean, I suppose that's kind of why like Mario Party, these sort of mini game collection games end up having such an absurd amount of like mini games within them in the first place. I guess if we sell both of these, we probably have enough to hit the threshold of 5,000. We might have overshot. Oh, not by too much, to be honest. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, it's very easy for me to say, not as a video game developer, not with any sort of insight of what's going on with the process. I can't help but feel like my setup feels weird. I don't know if I can't hear myself properly. Hold on. No, maybe it does feel normal. Yeah, it's very easy, I suppose, for me to sit here and be like, oh, you should have updated your game. It's so easy. Why didn't you do it? I don't mean it in that sense, of course. But I very much am aware that it probably comes off that way because, you know, again, I have no experience to really comment on these sort of things. Like, again, I'm an outside observer to this. But it's just like, it's interesting these games, Among Us, you know, Lethal Company, despite the fact that Among Us got like no updates for like a year or something, it still had a reasonable amount of staying power. And I think part of that is because of a modding community in the first place. Mods really do help keep games alive, especially for these indie devs, you know. I feel like it must be a blessing and a curse in so many ways. Like a blessing, you know, it's basically people are for free making content for your game, you know. While you might not have a developing power to pump up things that quickly, some people, you know, a community of 100,000 combined certainly do. So they can help, you know, people will be playing your vanilla game for a while, then as they start to get bored of a vanilla game, mods can help sort of renew that interest and keep people playing, you know, as they try out different combinations of things here and there. But I also must think it be a curse as well, because now all the updates that you do, you know, for one, people are going to compare them in update speed to mods, be like, why am I going to play a vanilla game? I could just play the modded one. Doubly so if the comparisons start coming across from your vanilla game to the modded version of like updates which are being put in, like, oh, like why would I play this when the modded version is like so much cleaner, it's like so much, there's fewer bugs, you know, it's more thought out, it's more balanced, etc. It's more fun, you know. And part of me wonders if that ended up happening to Among Us, because modded Among Us, as I understand it, they've basically sort of turned it into Mafia, Werewolf, Town of Salem, whatever you're the pick and choose of a litter of whatever social deception game you want, where now they have different roles rather than just having an imposter and crewmate, which was a solid base foundation for vanilla. Now you have more things. I don't know if vanilla Among Us now have it. I haven't played Among Us in like 2 years or something, 3 years maybe. I don't even remember when it came out exactly, but it's been a heck of a long time is probably what I mean to say. Which, you know, I don't fault Innersoft or Innersoft, right? The developers for not being able to pump out these updates. It's impossible, you know, to keep up with demand, and imagine the pressure must be absolutely insane when you have that sort of thing. But at least I hope that they've managed to expand their team and managed to sort of find their rhythm in putting out updates, so the modded version doesn't just sort of take over things. Because there is a happy medium, I think, to be found with modded versions of games compared to vanilla versions. You know, Minecraft, I think, certainly struck that balance. Skyrim probably kind of struck that balance. I don't know what other games are necessarily so very popular in the modding community. Maybe I was gonna say Gary's mod, but I think that's kind of built under the expectation that you would make mods for it in the first place. Like Minecraft just sort of comes to mind, I think, because that staying power of a vanilla game is still incredibly high, but modded Minecraft is also much beloved at the same time. Like, I used to play a lot of Team Fortress 2 and people would like install mods all the time, but a lot of the time cosmetic mods, I think, rather than necessarily gameplay mods, because I think you would just get banned for cheating or something. But like, I mean, I myself installed a lot of like the gameplay mod, the visual mods at the same time. I can't remember exactly what I installed, but you know, there was a very popular site called like Game Banana. That's what I remember. I remind myself. I can't speak today. That's how I remember it. I'm not sure if that's the actual website, but maybe it's something different. Where I would like install mods and, you know, have a fun time playing with my own sort of like modded TF2 and Minecraft, especially. You know, played a lot of like the Minecraft the initial version, which is like on the web browser. If we're going that far back on these servers, which were being run by, I don't even remember who knows what's it. And then I think I told my story about like my adventures on those Minecraft servers on one day. I should if I haven't, I should, but yeah, and then, you know, I bought Minecraft back in alpha, and like I played like a decent amount of that, and then like, you know, I played it with my friends through beta through to I don't even know what update, and then like when we started getting bored of it, we started playing modded Minecraft, but like renewed the interest once again with all these like creative community based mods. It really is like a sort of self-propagating community, I suppose, in that way. I think Terraria has also probably got quite a I'd assume Stardew Valley, although I don't actually know. It seems to be these indie devs which definitely have the best relationship, I suppose, with the modding community in the first place. I suppose the problem is when it comes to these sort of competitive games like Fall Guys, Headbangers, etc., etc., you can't really have a modding community behind it, or it's more difficult to, at least unless you have like a custom lobby system, because one, they're competitive, so, you know, for the sake of competitive integrity, it's kind of hard to be like, oh, you're allowed mods on here in the first place, because then that's kind of how you like open the gateway to allowing cheats in, right? And which is kind of destroys the competitive integrity of the game. You might be like, it's Fall Guys, like who cares about the competitiveness of it? It's not really about that. It's more so that if the entire premise of a game, despite the casual nature of it, is built on the competitive backbone, you can't just straight up disregard it. You know, I'm myself, I'm not very competitive. Like, I don't care if I win or lose these sort of games, but the understanding is that it's built on this competitive backbone in the first place for most people, and probably myself included a little bit. If you just completely toss away, if I suppose it's the developer showing a disregard for the nature of their own game by being like, oh, you know, we're not going to like crack down on cheating or anything like that, it kind of like throws into question the entire game in the first place. It's like, what's the point of playing this when I could just play a game not built on a competitive backbone and has a more robust sort of system tying it together? The point of competitive games is you play it and you get the dopamine hit, I suppose, of winning every now and then. If that's all like called into question, I suppose, in first place by rampant cheating, then it kind of calls in question most of it. Like, and that's coming from me. Again, I'm not very competitive, but even I can see that. Most people are probably more competitive than me, and most people would very rightfully be like, if you have cheaters in your game and it's a competitive game, I'm not going to play it. Because that sucks. I mean, it's why, you know, and Riot especially, and I think it ends up being more personal because I'm more aware of it, are so like trying to crack down on cheaters in both League of Legends and Valorant or something, because they straight up ruin games. You know, it's that sort of thing. I don't really know where I was going with this. Modding community. Anyway, so Lethal Company mods, I suppose we've been playing a little bit of it. Lethal Company's getting to the point where I think it's teetering on the edge of like, it's becoming too like, we've become too good at it. It's now too efficient. That, because I was having a think about this, because I was like, now sometimes when I see certain monsters, I'm like, oh, it's an annoyance rather than like it's a scary thing that's going to happen. There's still funny moments which happen, so I don't think it's quite gone over like with despair horizon yet, but I think it's getting close. So we'll see if an update comes out to sort of revive it in that sense. But anyway, I'm going to round this episode off here. So, if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope we can see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now.